We are live from the new Meksha Stronghold with more bits for everyone. The 7.2.1 update brings us 64-bit client, among other things. We're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about where you can see improvements. And we're also going to talk about, at least at the surface, the new Galactic season and the new PvP season, which have already started as well. All that and more, as we like to say, on this episode of the SWTOR Escape podcast from newoverlords.com. Our broadcast hashtag today is EPC 461. And co-hosting this thing with me here is Seema. Just so you can satisfy the chat room, Seema, just to get things kicked off, can you give us a doot?
Doot.
Hello there, Seema. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. I am so glad that Galactic Seasons 4 has started again. I mean, not again, but the Galactic Seasons has started again, and it's number 4. So I've gotten kind of my start on that, although I don't have the new companion yet. So I got a kind of a slow start this week. But I can buy her now or get her now. I just haven't had that moment where
Him. I thought it was a her.
It's a
too.
him?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
a him. Amity.
See, I learning that would have been in my future if you hadn't told me.
Yes. Spoilers. Sorry.
Yes. So I'm going to do that. Although I have been getting from my various activities, I've been getting the new items.
Yes.
So I fulfilled that particular Galactic Seasons target where you have to get 100 of them or 40 of them or whatever it is.
The peaceful token of peacefulness or whatever it is.
Yes. And we had, well, I haven't done the one where you go out with her and meditate on things. So I'll probably do that tomorrow. Because I'm kind of curious about how that one goes. I'm assuming it'll be similar to the catching gamblers thing.
I think that you seek out and find little meditation spots and you get to meditate and chill for a moment.
Yes, and it says it happens faster if there are more people with you.
Oh, really? That's a nice little. Okay, we're going to talk about that.
If I read that correctly.
We're going to talk about that because I think that's a fascinating part of the whole theme of everything.
We had a fun time with together our ops team and Intisar's ops team. We went and killed Nightmare Pilgrim.
Yes, we did.
So I got that Galactic Seasons target. Yeah, so that was fun. And then we went and did some stuff for Conquest afterwards. Definitely. Oh, then we did a 16-man Karagas Palace, and then we split up again because they had to still kill world bosses, which we did on Tuesday. And so then we went and did Explosive Conflict. That one.
Yep.
After that.
Kefis. We get to go see Kefis in his initial incarnation. Yeah.
Yes. So I still am working on leveling my character that I made for last week's Total Galactic War.
Oh, yeah?
I got that character, Rodian Mayo, all the way through the initial 3 chapters. Yes, so all the way
I was about to say, are you still playing it? Why aren't you just going to delete it? And then I forgot it's Rodian Mayo, so that's never getting deleted.
Right. So where I am in the story is I finished chapter 3, and I'm ready to do the little interlude thing that's on Ilum.
Excellent. Yeah. So, okay. Wow.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Wow. So you really cranked on through.
I did. I really did. And then just for Conquest this week, I went and did a couple of dailies, a couple on Onderon, and I started to do some on Manon, but I was really only after reputation token. So as soon as I got one, I stopped because that was my goal.
Yeah.
So
right.
It's not really a push, but just a little fun thing to do when you have a little bit of downtime. So that was my week. How about you, Max?
My week has been amazing. Well, this has been 2 weeks since we podcast last, and what I was doing in the meantime was going to PAX East 2023. PAX East. Did a lot of PAX East. Corley was tag teaming with me as part of the New Overlords team. We both where did I put my? I think it's back here behind me. Got my media pass and got to do a bunch of behind the scenes interviews and in front of the scenes, not interviews, but talks. I got to talk to a ton of devs. I produced most of it. Tomorrow should come out our wrap-up video, which we'll talk about probably 10 in detail, 10 studios and games that are in development in detail, and about 10 more shout outs to studios, publishers, and Intel because they just did such a great job. There is a video out on our feeds of the show floor. So I think I've got like 10 minutes of just panning around the whole show floor. So if you have never seen what PAX East really is, there are side rooms where there are panels going on and other events off, but the main event of PAX East is the expo hall. So you will get an immersive view of the expo hall in 4K if you go to YouTube/New Overlords or New Overlords. You probably have to go to YouTube/. I don't think it's one of the main things on newoverlords.com. But behind the games for this week that'll come out tomorrow will have that deep dive into the 10 and a ton of video in detail of all of the things that we saw and talked about and I ended up playing. Big shout out to Corley for, first of all, getting me there to PAX, any of the PAXs at all starting last year, and coaching me on how to go about doing a PAX the right way. And then this one just tag teaming and helping find
I mean,
the right things and talk to developers and executives of studios and that kind of thing. It was great.
PAX was really a game changer. The whole idea of going to PAX.
Yes, it was. I can't find my game changer button. So.
I'll say
Game
it. Game
changer.
changer. Game
Game
changer.
changer.
Game changer. Game changer.
Game changer for the industry. So I was doing that, but I was amazed to see 7.2.1 come out on the 28th. And
Bet you didn't see this coming!
only 2 people saw that coming. Those 2 people being Zen and the Alpha and the Omega out of our Discord contest. We'll circle back on that in a minute, but I did not see it coming because I thought it would potentially be coming out a week early. But this is about the time that I was hoping for. So
Can I change my answer?
no, you cannot.
Oh, bummer.
Good day, ma'am. You are wrong. You do not.
I was wondering what you're working on there.
Good day. You lose. You lose. Good day. I said good day. Anyway, it did come out, and with it came the Galactic season start and the PvP season start. So that's what I've been focused on. In fact, I also did not pull Amity out and get Amity going because I've been focusing on some of the other objectives. I'm already up to level 5 in the Galactic season because I did arenas. So I did arenas. I did the objective, which was, I think you had to get 10, but you double progress for wins. So I don't think I actually did 10 arenas. I think I only did 7, but I could see that too because 6. So I only did 6, which means I won 4 out of 6 arena matches and got the credit for 10. And now a little bit of progress on the PvP season track. There's a chance I could be completing 3 of the weekly objectives for the PvP season this week. However, I had fun. The arenas were good. They worked well. The queues popped quickly. With the teams that I was teamed up with, it worked out well. The wins, the losses were good fights. The wins were good fights. It was great. However, it's still PvP, and it takes a bunch of time. And here, to complete this weekly, for example, you have to play 16, and wins don't count for 2 for one of the PvP weeklies. So I've only done 6, and that was a lot for me. I think now that I'm 3 days into the PvP season, I think I might be done. My plan was to go all the way. I'm going all the way. 2 days later, I'm out.
So, is it more
We'll
the
see.
time investment for you, or is it the
Yeah.
emotion?
Both. It is the emotional component because it's not
Pleasant.
something I can just like chill, morning coffee.
Mhm.
I'm, halfway paying attention and I could just like pop in and do, 16 arena matches.
Right.
That is not a chill, casual
No.
activity.
No, it's a focused activity.
And when I go, I go. In fact, I put into extra augments. I tuned up my spec on my Sork. I was doing pretty well. It was working really well, putting up good numbers. But I'm also, I can feel the cortisol just like building inside me, and I'm angry. And even when it's like a good match, and I'm like, "Get monkey fighting Monday to Friday match." So it's a little stressful. And there's just a lot to do. I really want to focus on the galactic season. I want to focus on our ops team on Thursdays, and we got a couple podcasts, and then there's a bunch of other games that are out there that we're talking to these studios. I gotta play their games. Maybe I gotta go play Cult of the Lamb if we're gonna talk to Massive Monster on our other podcast, which would be awesome.
I
So,
wanna play the game where you're a baby trying to kill yourself.
Who's Your Daddy? That one's called Who's Your Daddy? And if you play the baby, you try to murder yourself. If you play the dad, you're trying to keep the baby from murdering themselves. And it's a match. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing. I've been doing PvP. I've been doing Galactic Season. Been getting into it, and which we'll definitely talk about, and I will show off. I got the Meksha Stronghold, which I am so happy about. So happy. I forgot about this. So happy. I got so excited. I happen to have 14 Galactic Season tokens. I got so jazzed over this whole thing. Do they still say jazz these days, or did that go out in the 20s? I'm so you, you
I
humans
think
and
now
your
what they
your
say
decades.
is bee's knees.
Ah, Daddy-o, it's so hip. Um, I got so excited by it. They say wizard. Thank you, chat room. It's so wizard that I made a short. I made a YouTube short. I was gonna make an animated GIF just so I could post it in, just like show off the outside. I zoomed way out and show off the inside a little bit. I was just gonna make an animated GIF so I could post it in Discord for the people that couldn't see it. And then I brought everybody in on our MFN night on Tuesday night, and I can keep doing that. We'll show it off. I'll do a whole tour on this stream and the podcast video if you're seeing it to see it now. But I got so excited, I made my first YouTube short. And it was a little bit of a pain, and I don't really like it, but I may do a couple more YouTube shorts because now I've figured it out and I've learned the process. And my first ever YouTube short is up on our YouTube channel as well, YouTube/New Overlords. There is a New Overlords Twitch channel which has 0 things on it. If I do make a couple more shorts with a plan to make more, I might open up not Twitch, our TikTok channel. I'm gonna post on TikTok, and that will be the last post ever before TikTok gets shut down in the US. It'll be my first and TikTok's last. That's how that's gonna
Right.
work.
Right.
So that's a ton of what I've been doing. It's been quite exciting. Let's find out what else everything in BioWare has been doing.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
So the main news item is obviously 7.2.1. That's going to be our main segment, so we'll get to that all in a second. There's another big thing, though, that popped up in the news that I was fascinated by to hear that it was announced and something that they were doing and is public. They are advancing their work in getting the back end of the platform onto AWS. They had actually hinted at this before that the PTS had been running in AWS. What they have now done, because they want to sort of like see where this could take them, is they're going to open up another server for testing in AWS as part of this backend infrastructure, continued infrastructure investment and updates that they're making, and it's going to be in the Asia Pacific region.
And if
So
you don't know what AWS is, it's Amazon's cloud.
yeah, sorry, Amazon Web Services, and
Yeah.
it's Amazon's cloud, and it's where a lot of cloud infrastructure run. I kind of prefer Azure for web service loads, but if you have a server image, which is what they would be dealing with, AWS is really good at that. You can just take it, you can containerize it, and just dump it in AWS servers. Um, uh, Azure does that as well, but that's kind of like AWS's bread and butter. Nice post that's up. It talks about why we're migrating to cloud, why BioWare is migrating to cloud-based servers. two things that came to mind immediately on this. I'm excited to see what this makes possible, and they've got some of the notes in here in this post that's up there that talk about what might be possible. And the other thing, which I think I posted a tweet out there that said, this is strong. Again, another strong indicator that the investment is here in this game and this platform for the long haul. They would not be updating the server infrastructure, migrating to 64-bit. You know, that is not something you do for a game that's in maintenance mode. This is at least a 5-year, if not a 5-year to 10-year roadmap investment in a platform to make a game run for the long term. That is really encouraging to me. That is good news to me as a fan of Star Wars: The Old Republic. They do hope with this combination of stuff, with all of these 64-bit updates, with what they're able to do with these servers, with all of this infrastructure update, we could be seeing quite a bit more flexibility and interesting ways to implement new content and graphics and everything coming in the future. So great, great, great stuff. And yes, chat room, apparently the internet and the forums lied to me and the game is not dead. I'm sure
Although I did hear it
someone will
in
pop in
general.
there or pop into, pop. I love it when somebody pops into an active forum thread with, hundreds of posts a day and goes, is this game dead? Yeah, nobody here but us chickens. Where is that even from? I don't know. Got things just coming out of my mouth. I don't even know where my head is at. Anyway, that's the news item that I did want to talk about that came up separately from 7.2.1. Exciting stuff. You'll be able to get on there. You'll be able to copy your character over. You'll be able to, if you're in the US, play on an Asia Pacific, sort of an Australia region server and feel what that feels like. Now, it'll be slightly better than what people in Australia have coming to the servers now because it's a beefier and more interesting cloud infrastructure and with really big fat pipes that go through the ocean and things like that for AWS. But we'll be able to see what that's like. All right, let me take a deep breath. Let me breathe here for a moment, Seema, and you tell us what else has been going on in community news.
Well, apparently, Galactic Seasons is back on the menu. Gosh.
Gosh. Yeah.
Um,
Back on the
um,
menu, boys.
this is a community news item because we can do things as a community.
Yeah, because this is something that sort of drives our MFN stuff.
Yeah, it does. It does.
I'm happy that we've got it back. We do a lot on our Tuesday nights in particular to get people group, especially the objectives that take a group that are a little bit more difficult to do. It gives us something to do. It drives activity. People are jumping there and they have things that they want to do and they're happy to do it. No one in AIE and in our team was like the one guy that Corley found on Twitter or in the forums that said, "What? More content? Another
Well, I
season
mean,
already? I quit."
but I do understand that,
Yes.
and this is an exception. This is an exception going forward. It's an exception because they wanted to get into the new content release pattern, but there will be bigger breaks between Galactic Seasons going forward. This is an exception. I already said that 3 times already.
The part that's not an exception, or I don't know if it's an exception. I don't know what the cadence for the PvP seasons is. That is one thing that we said, and I'm feeling it already right now, is having the PvP season at the same time as the Galactic season for me is a little bit rough. For the people that only PvP, no problem. For the people that for the people that PvP a lot, you're getting a lot of the Galactic season done as well. But if you focus on Galactic season and you're trying to go all out on that and doing stuff with your groups and the group content, you might not be doing the PvP, and it's a lot of reward track stuff to go after.
I don't know the answer, right? Because if they did it serially, then it would be too long of a break between Galactic Seasons.
Well, I'm super serial about my opinion, so that's what I think. Uh, we also mentioned we did have a contest to guess the date, and we did wait till we were sure that the servers were up. Not just that the patch was going out, but the servers did go up, and it went up on the 28th. And there were 2 people in our contest that guessed the correct date of March. This month is March 28th. And that was Zen, our very own Zen, who is part of AIE and often here hanging out with us in the chat room. And another person in our Discord that goes by the tag in Discord, the Alpha and Omega. So both of those fine guessers. Zen, what did Zen ask to be, to make sure I referred to him as the great almighty best guesser of all time? I believe it was something like that. So hats off to you, my friend. You are the great guesser supreme. They both also got a rare code. I let them pick from a couple rare codes that we had on hand. Zen got they both got great codes. So congrats to them. Thanks to everyone that jumped in our Discord, newoverlords.com/Discord. Post updates, post inside information, post behind the games, and SWTOR Escape podcast stuff in there. There are a few devs from some other games and from some ex-BioWare people. No, I don't think any of the current BioWare team. In fact, they kind of have a policy where they're trying to not do that because it's gotten them into trouble. There's a couple ex-BioWare in there. If you would just want to chat in general and see if somebody answers you with a question for how something worked in the past, that might work. And that is that. Shout out to our Discord. Shout out to the chat room. It's been a long couple weeks for both of us, folks. So
Yes,
we're, as I said, ticking time bombs here. We're gonna break this down. But yes, shout out to the chat room. They did notice that we didn't have our preemptive doot as we start the stream. If you're only listening to us on the feeds and you never listen live, you probably don't know what that is. That was one of the ways that I asked Seema to do a sound check every time we start the recording. And I didn't do it ahead of time, and the chat room went crazy. But we're good. We're all fine here. How are you? You know what else is fine? 7.2.1.
Bet you didn't see this coming!
A lot of people did not see it coming as early as the 28th. I know we were hoping for it around this time, and pretty close. But a lot of people were out like May the 4th, but a lot of the guesses, a lot of, like late April. So it was fun that it is out now. And in some ways it's surprising because there is a lot that went into this. The patch notes. So the patch notes are out there. You can definitely pull up the patch notes. As I was preparing for the podcast, I took the patch notes and copied them off into a Word doc because I was trying to play with the formatting, and it was 12 pages. There is a lot going on. You know what there's a ton of, which we're actually not going to talk about very much because there's just a ton of it in each of the sections. There's a ton of bug fixes. Now I know as the 64-bit stuff is rolling out that we're finding additional new bugs that are due to some of that refactoring of the code and the 64-bit differences. So we're going to have to work through that. But a lot of old bugs have gotten fixed. So although we didn't get a story beat, which I was kind of hoping for them to, sneak one of those in, we did get some big things. We got the 2 seasons that we'll talk about. We got all of the 64-bit client updates, which we're going to talk about in detail, and a metric space science, space sci-fi ton of bug fixes. So a lot of your old bug fixes that favorite things that you wish were fixed might be fixed at this point. Check it out. So. Quick note, Intisar is clarifying for us in the chat room, which is good. So circling back on that, are these seasons going to line up in the future? PvP season and the Galactic season. The PvP seasons will be active for 12 weeks, then off season will be 4 weeks. So PvP season 2 will begin March 28th and end June 20th, and season 3 will begin July 18th and October 10th. How does that line up with? Let's do a quick check, and you can always look and see when the seasons are going to end by clicking on the Galactic Seasons um, track window. So this ends in 137 days for the Galactic season, and the PvP season ends in 81 days. Okay, so they may be staggered in the future. This is good to know. It's only 4 weeks off in between, and I don't know how many weeks off at the end of a Galactic season, so they still could overlap very significantly. So good to know. Good to know. Good to know. So let's start there. Let's start with the 64-bit because I've got some extra inside info that's gone out, some clarification. One of the things with 64-bit is, I'm interested to see now that we know, I'm interested to see what you thought was happening due to 64-bit. Because here's what was going on, everyone. Is we're playing, 64-bit client is out this week, and everybody's looking at it and looking squinting sideways and playing and seeing what seems smooth and what seems working and looking at the graphics and saying, I wonder if this is for 64-bit. And and all of us were doing this. It'd be like, oh, do you see do you see the glowing light on this speeder? I don't remember that the engine's glowing like that. I wonder if that's due to 64-bit. It's not. It's not. And I think there was a placebo effect where it's everything. We were thinking everything was due to 64-bit. So now it's a running joke in our ops team. Everything was, hey, I was able to get Karaga on the elevator after we killed him on the last fight. I think that's because of 64-bit. So was there anything that you were thinking was due to 64-bit, Seema, that was not?
Well, yeah, no. Actually, no, because I haven't really played a lot since it dropped. And when I was on the because the kind of things I was looking for was possibility of smoother for me on Mechshaw or whatever. And so I did play with that on the PTS, but I didn't think that was, comparing apples to apples.
Right.
So I haven't really. I do feel like I've noticed loading screens going by faster.
Yeah,
That could be my imagination.
it could be, but a general, so here are the bullets. The general performance improvements, frame rates, load times, mild but general, that is something that you will see due to 64-bit performance improvements. For the bulk of main players with modern hardware, it's going to be pretty moderate and modest. For people,
What counts as modern hardware?
well, not on a laptop with a discrete GPU that wasn't getting used, not on old hardware that was running old versions of Windows that aren't optimized for 64-bit. Like if you're still running Windows 7 or Windows 8, that
I'm running Vista. Would that be old?
well, I'm on Windows for Workgroups, Windows 3.1.1, and and it's working fine. So it's, I think, I mean, if you've got an older computer, it could perform better because they did fix some things to make some lagging hardware catch up and get around some of the places that they had to be doing extra work because of the differences in the way that code is written and where the 64-bit emulation layers were laying and things that were going on in DirectX under the scenes for different older configurations, even like in Windows 10. So you could see differences. If you've got a brand new PC with Windows 11, the differences between 32 and 64 aren't going to be that big, but there will be a little bit. Big performance update for the one that I mentioned, which is especially the laptops that had discrete graphics. So what that kind of laptop, the way that works is most laptops have integrated graphics, which means it's part of the motherboard. Some laptops, like beefy gamer laptops, also had a secondary GPU, like a mobile GPU that was part of the laptop configuration. And SWTOR was not taking advantage of the discrete graphics GPUs before being able to get up to this 64-bit refactor. It will now, and those laptops that you have the discrete graphics will see a significant performance improvement as a result. There's that. They do think, and that you should expect to see either places that are very large maps, and Tatooine is an example of this, or places that are very busy, like the fleet. The load times in there and the performance hitches, and I have seen this, although it's not completely gone, but the performance hitches when you're riding around the fleet and you turn the corner, you get into a new quadrant, and there's 100 people standing around the GTN, and all of their textures of all of their armor sets all need to then load up, right? Because because it's 64-bit, there's more addressable memory space. This is what I'm reading into it. They Bioware didn't say this specifically, but I think that kind of thing is where things are going to smooth out, because they can fit more of the texture maps into addressable memory space, and not going to be swapping things out as often. It's going to smooth things out on places like the fleet. One place that we did not see that big of a performance improvement was we did a Nightmare Pilgrim kill tonight, and we had there was probably 30 people around. We had
Mm-hmm.
16 in our group, and then there was probably another, more than a dozen of other players just around shooting it. I had my graphics set to ultra, and they're set to ultra right now. Just plugged it all the way to ultra. I didn't change anything else, and did get not good frame rates on my 3080 Ti card that I've got in this machine, with all of that going on. Now, we did a 16-man operation, and I still kept it on ultra, and all of those fights ran smooth, and I didn't get frame rate drop. So it was when it got extreme and the number of kinds of shaders and the effects and spell effects and everything got really extreme that there is a limit. There's still limits. But speaking of frame rates, that's another thing that changed in an interesting way. As part of this 64-bit update, they were also able to fix, which wasn't really working. It actually wasn't working like it should have. It was kind of bugged, the frame rate limiting. So what you can do, I have Bloom on right now. The chat room is asking. I usually turn Bloom off. I tend to not like Bloom, and in fact, I'll shut it off here in a second. It sharpens things up. But the frame rate limiting. What frame rate limiting does is says, okay, I know what my hardware can handle, and I know what my machine can handle. I would prefer to cap frame rate at 60 frames per second. And in doing that, I will get better power management, which means maybe my fans aren't going to be running as much. My card's not going to be heating up as much. So if you set your frame rate limits, you will actually now be limited in some cases where you weren't before, and then that limit will be much more consistent. So you can change that, and you can play with that in the settings. That's something that if you need that, if that's useful to you, is a really good update and something you can make use of as well. So yeah, that is that. Anything else on the 64-bit that you wanted to talk about? So Eflex is saying 64-bit made the mails stop running, possibly. In fact, that was the big thing that they ran into on Tuesday, where they had to actually do some live patching, but they were on top of it. And they continue to watch the forums, and they're trying to gather as much information on as they can, and they're quite on point with tracking down every possible bug related to this 64-bit update. They know it's had a lot of impact. They know a lot of code was touched, and they're happy to get your reports, get your diagnostic files. So you might be asked to produce one of those. Do it, and your issues will magically be fixed. So there you go. So yeah, 64-bit. You happy, Seema? Happy now?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I'm happy now.
All right. So let's get to 7.2.1. The rest of us. The rest of it for the best of us. Besides the 64-bit game client, we had Galactic Season 4, PvP Season 2, Credit Economy Initiative, the Mechshaw Stronghold, and some general bug fixes that we'll sort of scroll through as well. Where do you want to start? You want to start?
Stronghold.
Let's start in the Stronghold. Good. Good, Seema, good. All right, let us go. And I am going to turn my bloom off. I don't know why. This is the first thing I do in every game that I install anywhere. I shut bloom off. I'm like, I'm a bloom hater. So let me shut the bloom off. Look at that. Now everything's much sharper. Although, oh wait, no, that's actually worse. The bloom had, did you see how this light was really lit up before?
Yeah.
And the light on
Yeah.
the top of the top, I gotta turn bloom back on. Jeez,
Yeah. I was gonna say.
what the heck? Bloom was actually adding quite a bit to the emissive, anything emissive. Like the volumetric effect on the emissives really goes down.
But
So,
isn't that what bloom is?
kind of. It gives sort of like the general glow outside of the frame of an emissive, but not as much. I mean, so you can barely see the light going around here, but I wouldn't expect it to be as dramatic as it is. Guess bloom's back on the menu, boys.
Gosh.
Yeah, look at that. Look at the difference. Okay. Ooh. I died. I stepped off the pier. Okay.
That is a huge difference.
That is a huge difference. Huge. It's huge. Okay. So this is the Stronghold. It's just about, and here, I'll set my zoom so I can go way out for you. Way out there. I'm going to have to change it back though, because I don't like it this far out. Because I spin my mouse wheel and then it goes crazy. So it's a little dark. I know it's a little dark in here, so you're going to have to crank up your settings to see it, but it's about everything I could possibly want out of the Mechshaw Stronghold. I would have preferred maybe maybe a little bit more verticality, but I think it's a great size. I think it's a great view. So there's a view out the front and a view out the back that I think are really, really good. It's got that whole Mechshaw theme to it. The view out the front is the Blade Runner, the 1980 version of 1980s versions of Blade Runner view of LA, future cyberpunk that I really like. That's the part of Mechshaw that I like the best. It's got the more industrial view out the back, and you're high up on one of the towers in sort of like the cargo container stacks, and you've got 2 rooms, 2 levels, 2 outside areas. I'll flip back and forth and be showing hooks as we go along as well. And every conceivable surface seems to be covered with hooks. So really nice job. There are 3 centerpiece hooks. So there's 2 up above us on the bigger deck up top and 1 in the back room. There are no starship hooks. So there's that. And then there's just a ton of every other kind of hook. There's a main room as you walk in the main door. So there's a main room. It's sort of like a little stage area on the right. And then there's a side room and a back room. Each of these rooms kind of is 2-tiered. There's either like a little walkway or there's steps. So to get to the second level of the main room, you actually have to go into the side room, and it's got this little walkway. You climb up here. So here's the little side room. Let me show you the hooks in the side room, and I'll show you the hooks in the main room. So you got a bunch of hooks all over here. There's bug fixes to make the hooks work better, like being able to click on the hook for a rug if the rug is already down. And then here's this upper level of the main room. Sort of walk through the side there, and here's the upper level of the main room. And when you're in the upper level of the main room is where you can go out to the deck in the back. Oh, I have these gazebos because we were playing with. We'll pick these up. we were playing with the centerpiece hooks to see what we could put out there. So 2 centerpiece hooks up here, 1 additional bind point up here on the upper deck that you can. Hey, Shavizla, why don't you go away for a bit in the view? Dismiss. This is a mistake. That's what she says when you dismiss her.
Yes. Yep.
A little sort of like back deck area here on the side. Again, hooks on the ceiling, hooks on the walls, hooks everywhere, every which way. I might use this. No, I think I like the pier down below better. I'm going to be moving my main utility
Base of
decorations
yeah.
into
Your base of
into here. Yeah,
operations.
at least
Yeah.
temporarily. I really still love the Yavin Stronghold. I like that it's bright and sunny. I like the big starship landing pad because I've got my big creature statues out there on the starship landing pad. But I am going to move into here at least for a while. And this will be one that I decorate out because again, it's not ginormous and it's not backbreaking to decorate it. And I think I have enough chairs to fill it up, which is.
Yes.
And then here's the back room. So the back room has again a little bit of a walkway up here, the ramp down. This little area in the like the upper ledge up there, across from the walkway, you can't get to. Well, you can't get to in a traditional way. I will be getting there, but I haven't gotten there yet. So that's interesting that there's like a little ledge up there, and
You're gonna
looks like
put barrels and then walk up the
yes,
barrels.
yeah, I'm gonna put decorations because you can put like decorations that you can climb on. You'll be able to put them on these hooks and then parkour yourself up there. That's the way to do it. Here's the second centerpiece hook. The third centerpiece hook right there. You can put something there, and then there's the view out the back, which is to the more industrial back area of Meksha, which again is cool and I like. And as I said, I was so pleased that I learned how to do YouTube Shorts, and I created a YouTube Short, 59 seconds, because you can't go more than 61 seconds, and it turns it into just a regular YouTube video. Don't get me started. Here I am ranting about something else again. This is what we're doing in the pre-show. Max ranting.
Yes.
Ask me
And
about
an ops.
AI. Ask me about AI sometime, and how and tell me you think that it's going to kill us all, and I will go crazy. So yeah, there you go. Meksha Stronghold. What do you think, Seema?
I'm interested. I like it.
And you say you're interested, but you don't have it yet, do you?
I don't because actually let me look. I don't because I was missing out on a few tokens. I didn't have quite enough tokens for it.
It
Or I
is
would have it by now.
It is 14 tokens, and there's a cap of 15. So at the end of last Galactic season, a lot of people spent some extra tokens because they
Yeah.
didn't want to be bumping up against the cap.
Right. That's what I
I
did.
was lazy. And
Right, and oftentimes there is a reward for laziness.
right. So I had exactly 14 when I logged in, and I looked at the price and I looked at my 14, and I was so happy. So that I had 14. So that, yeah. So I got it. I cracked it open right away.
I'm
And
close though. I have 12, so I need a couple more.
I did nothing else on Tuesday except just hang out in the stronghold, make my little video, and then we had MFN later in the evening. So that's what I did. Yeah. So I'll be interested to see. I am also interested to see as you get onto regular Meksha where you did have performance issues.
Right.
If those are fixed. In fact, we can kind of do that. Should we just exit
Yeah.
area right out?
Yeah.
There's right out the front door. I think we can exit.
Yeah.
You will have to pay a fee.
5,000 credits, man.
That's how that works. Look, it even says it right here on the exit stronghold, exit to Meksha. 5,000 credits. Criminy. I got Trace Comas to manage here, folks.
I'm gonna be poor.
All right.
Poor,
I'm
poor.
exiting to Meksha. Yes, Meksha. Sean Connery would like the name Meksha. All right. So come out here and actually come to the place where you would have the most issues would be
I'm doing that. Like
Slugfall
where
Cantina.
where it would be, yes, where it'd be the most obvious are those zigzag ramps.
Zigzag ramps and where people are and out in front of the yeah, there you are.
No, it was really like the zigzag ramps were the worst. I didn't feel like people had to be around. It was just my camera would just be very sluggish.
So what do you think? How's it?
I detect it seems better. I think it's better. Yeah.
It's
I
probably
mean,
64 bit.
now I'm whoa. Yikes.
Oh,
Don't go
these
down this
trees look
ramp.
really good with the bloom on. Wow. What have I been missing by turning bloom off constantly? Look at these trees. Oh, did
They
you
are
just
nice.
did you just
Yeah.
what did you do? Those are the Republic guards.
Yeah, that's why I
You run
said
away.
don't
I'm
go.
not going to shoot them. They'll kill me. I was going to save you, but
No, that's why I said don't go down this ramp.
That's
They got
hilarious.
they got Shay.
Yeah, this looks really good with the bloom on. Yeah, any of the volumetric lighting looks much better with the bloom on. It really fills up the space. So yeah, places like this where there's a lot of textures.
Yes, they were 64-bit Republic guards.
Corley's saying Seema's running away going, mistakes were made.
Yes.
So there you go. First up, Mech Shah. As you can tell, I'm quite excited and happy by it. So let's plow through some of this other stuff though while we're going here, because again, short fuse, and we've already been going for a while, haven't we? Let's see.
Yes, let's
Yes.
do this.
So let's crank through. We
So
will do a more detailed update, so we just need to scratch the surface that the Galactic season, for example, has started. One of the things that I like that they did, although liked and didn't like, everybody's confused because it's moved. The objectives are now with the reward track for Galactic season. And the objectives and the rewards for each of the seasons are all collected up in the rewards panel. And you get to the rewards panel by clicking on the little welcome bar that's at the top of your screen, dropping it down, and click on either Galactic season, PvP season, or login rewards. It brings up the one page with the 3 tabs across the top for all of that. Although you may be confused and frustrated because it's moved and you can't hit L and bring up your missions and it's not there anymore, it's not on the conquest page, it didn't belong on the conquest page. It made no sense that it was there. Although the objectives look kind of the same, looked kind of similar, they're not. They're not. They had nothing to do with conquest. They don't count for conquest, although you might be doing things that end up counting for conquest a little bit. It's not conquest. It's not a mission. Shouldn't be in the mission logs. It shouldn't be on the conquest tab. It shouldn't be a guild invasion. It belongs with its reward track. I'm really saying negative. It belonged there for me.
well, I mean, I I heard you say during ops like, "Oh, I had to make some changes because it came out under
Mhm.
my chat window." You're
Which is
so philosophical about it. I'm like, "Okay,
no,
I
I've
don't
changed my
like that
mind.
it came I don't like that it came out under my chat window."
I've changed my mind on that, and I tried to rearrange things to make that work. They're gonna have to fix that. So the
I
the,
don't
the part that's
have that
yeah.
much screen real estate. Well, actually, yes. I just don't like that there's main components that override that come on top of each other.
The
Yeah.
problem there
I can still click it though.
right. Right. So I put my chat room right under the little welcome bar. So it's still at the top, but it's just right under. Still it's problem if the chat window is not collapsed and you drop that welcome bar, the button to click that says Galactic Seasons, although you can just click, oh, I forgot. I should just be clicking the login rewards button because that'll get you there too. It pops in underneath the chat window. And there's no way
Right.
you can get it to pop over the top, and it really should. Because if I click on this interface element, then obviously I want to be using that interface element. It should be popping over on top. So Oh, you can just hit wait, the person in the toolbar on top and click login and season rewards in the top center bar, there's another place for you to pop it open. So you don't have to go to the welcome window. Good point. In the bar at the top center of your screen by the default layout, the one at the very left has 6
Oh,
features,
yeah.
and at the
I
very
like
bottom,
that.
lit up is login and season rewards. Maybe that's the better place to be going in doing
Yes,
this.
because that's typically I go to that little menu at the top when I wanna go to strongholds.
Chat room, correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't double checked, but I don't think there's any keybind right now for this rewards interface. That would also help. If I could hit R or control R or something and bring up this rewards interface, that would be great too. So if they add a keybind, if they change the popover and uh, make it work like you should be able to get to it, this is a much better interface, I think, when you do end up getting to it for the PvP season and the Galactic season. The reward track is right next to the objectives. The objectives make sense being there next to the reward track. All 3 of these reward tracks. There's 3 reward tracks. Remember, there's the daily and weekly login rewards. There's the Galactic season reward track, and there's the PvP season reward track. So all of those reward tracks are what are getting grouped up into this UI. So it's there, Galactic Seasons, and we're into it. I haven't. So as I said, we're gonna go into it in depth in a future podcast episode. We'll talk about Amity and who Amity is, and the themes that Amity brings to the game. Amity is a force sensitive and wants to focus on peace and getting together and not so much of toxicity and fighting. And to me, this sounded like a little bit of the direction that BioWare as a development team was trying to take the game and the community. And I thought it was an interesting angle, and I definitely am reading into the fact that they've made this the theme of this season. This idea of, as you said, the more people you bring in and meditate with you, the faster the meditation goes. And hey, let's not focus on just like shooting everything in the face all the time. And there is a whole aspect of peace and serenity that is part of the Force and Star Wars lore that it's not bad to have a little bit. And it's a little sort of a nice element to remember from time to time as you're trying to create a cohesive community. So we'll confirm that. We'll explore the conversations with Amity a little bit more as we unlock and get into that. We'll try to get a little bit of that lore uncovered, and we'll come back to it. Amity horrors. That's all I think of too, Force Chuckle, when I hear the word Amity. Amityville horror. I don't know why I never saw that growing up, but that was like etched into my brain. That's all I think of when I think of Amity. I either think of that or I think of enmity, which makes me think it should be a Sith Lord. Darth Enmity sounds like a perfect Sith Lord name. Anyway, so the Galactic season has started. All the kinds of objectives you could expect. I did not expect to see the 10 arena matches, wins count for 2 as a 12-point objective. We didn't have any of those last season. They're definitely trying to, I think, get you to experiment with some new content. I did experiment with that new content. I
But
did
doesn't that
get to try it.
d doesn't that mean that it counts for both or some part of it counts for both
Yes.
tracks?
Yes.
Yeah.
So there are things that will count for extra tracks and count for conquest points, and there is overlap there. And I didn't know if they did this explicitly by design, but say in the first couple weeks of Galactic season, there were a couple more heavily weighted PvP objectives that also progressed you through the PvP season. Then you might look at that and go, well, hey, now I'm a couple levels into the PvP season. And I haven't even completed a weekly objective, and I'm almost halfway through level 1 of a PvP season. And by completing the first objective, level 1, I will get the Shadow Hand helmet. That might rope me in because this Shadow Hand and the Shade Veil armor sets for this PvP season, and now we'll talk about the PvP season, these armor sets are dope. These armor sets are great. I like it. I like what I'm seeing. I really like the piercing, the Shade Veil. Shade Veil starts at level 18. So there's 25 levels to the PvP season. They take longer to get to. They take longer to complete, but there's 25 levels. Levels 1 through 16 will get you all of the pieces of the Shadow Hand set. The Shade Veil set is the same model as the Shadow Hand set, but it also has glowy bits. So let's take a look at the Shadow Hand set. I think I could pull it out of collections and preview it. Yeah, here we go. I think we even showed this on one of the previous streams, and I think I've shown it on the interweb. But the Shade Veil version, which you have to go all the way through rank 25 to get the full Shade Veil set, has these glowy areas, emissive textures laid on top of it, and it looks really, really good. It's your space samurai. Look at the boots, the detailing on the boots. It's the high texture on the armor. It's got all of these layers. It's like an onion. It's got layers. The cloth textures are really well done. So I want it. I want it, but I don't want to have to do the PvP season. So we'll see. What are you looking forward to in the Galactic season, Seema?
Reward wise, I don't even know. I
True.
have to
I have
sit down
not
and
looked
look
at
it.
the rewards in too much detail. We get a
I
companion.
am looking forward to the stronghold. I'm looking forward to the activities, basically.
Yeah.
And I will have to answer at a later time on the rewards.
Yes.
Oh, that's a cute thing.
That's
That's our
rank 1.
That's the yeah.
The Mudland Odux.
He looks like he's contemplating life.
Yes, he looks serene. Yeah. He looks pretty good. He looks like what's from Avatar Last Airbender, the their fuzzy pal that they ride around on. Looks kind of like one of those. Cool. So yeah.
You'd have to ask someone else on that one.
Appa. Yes, he looks kind of like Appa. Not exactly, but kind of. We always, me and the kids always like to talk about the Avatar movie, Avatar: Last Airbender movie, where they decided to pronounce Aang as Ang for some ridiculously insane reason, and so we always like, oh, you mean Ong? Yes, I mean Ong. Yes. So we do that. We do lots of those kinds of things. All right, so let's see what else we've got. Let's just crank through some of the other patch notes. So those are the main areas: PvP, GSF, the Mechshaw Stronghold, which is actually part of the Galactic season. Did I say GSF? I mean GS. The 64-bit update. A lot of random bug fixes, and we'll go through some of those now. The very low graphics quality preset has been eliminated. Now I've just highlighted some of these, and you can chime in as well, Seema, on some of these. But very low graphics quality preset, it removed from the game. It's just not relevant anymore. And the kinds of settings there, because of what they've done to rejigger the engine, doesn't make sense. Crit rate, this looked good to me, relevant to my interest as a crafter. Crit rate for crew skills tasks in the profession window is now properly upgraded when Legacy of Crafting perks are unlocked. I didn't know that it wasn't. And now I expect to be compensated for all of the crits that I've lost in the past. Removed XP from Operations Profiteer guild perks as XP is no longer relevant to Operations content. that confused me for a second when I first read this, and then I remembered that operations are level 80 content. Yes, XP is irrelevant for level 80 content because you're already level 80. Okay, makes sense. Here's one that we experienced. Did you experience this with the mouse sensitivity?
No, I haven't. No.
So mouse sensitivity has been dialed down and spread out the spectrum of mouse sensitivity, and I did notice it. If I used to be able to slide my mouse sensitivity all the way down to 0, and my screen would still, whip around really fast. It's going really fast right now. When I set it down to 0, which I did to make the video of the stronghold, and tried to move the camera, it moved pretty slow. I was like, okay, so this is obviously something's changed, something's been fixed, and yes, that's what it is. So it's
Oh,
a lot
interesting.
slower. If you'd like that turn speed to be a bit slower, I like it fast and need it fast. If you're in PvP, you kind of need it fast because you need to in a lot of group content, hard group content, you need to be looking behind you quite often. However, making it slower and being able to slow it down can be really useful in a lot of situations. Couple UI updates. There are uh, collapsible groups in the currency tab now. So if you want to just sort of collapse things down because you're trying to just look for something specific, like I only want to see the Galactic Seasons currencies, you collapse down everything else. Cool, cool. And what about this one? Outfit slots are now displayed in alphabetical order.
Oh,
I thought that was great.
yeah. Anytime they put something in an order period. Well,
Right.
yeah, because I guess before it was like in the order you made them.
Or random. I don't know.
I mean,
there's
specifically outfits.
there's
Yeah.
plenty of things in the game. Oh, this reminds me. I will look up on the side. So maybe you could talk about like the quick travel and the economy updates here for a second, and I will look up the guild UI interface and passing out keys and see if that has
Yes.
fixed because that is the
I.
worst. I'll rant about that in a second
Yeah.
after you talk about
Yeah.
the economy if it's not fixed, which I bet it's not.
So the reason this is about the economy is that certain things that have been free for a long time now are going to start costing credits, and it started on Tuesday, and that is to remove credits from the game. And the idea is not to remove a bunch of credits from a few people, but a few credits from everybody. And the one that's most obvious is everything that's sort of quick travel or quick travel esque. Like when you go someplace using your stronghold, or if you quick travel a place, it's going to cost you a few credits.
Yes,
Takes a little getting used to.
and we had a whole long discussion on this on
And we probably will again.
right, but you could go back to that episode. In fact, a couple of people commented that this was, that it it did sort of set some baseline understanding of what you need to be thinking about when you're making impacts to an economy and not impacts to wealth distribution. A lot of people are thinking impacts to the economy. They're conflating the two, and you're not trying to take away credits from the billionaires. What you're trying to do is reduce the influx of credits balance into the game. Influx and on outflow, that's the kind of things that they've started to implement. You need a general balance of outflow of credits that works across the broad population. You can't, if you took away all of the billionaires in the game and you wiped all their credits to 0, it would not fix the economy because the number of credits still flowing into the system is too far ahead of the number of credits flowing out of the system.
Right.
So it's a different thing. uh, so yeah, and this is only the first wave. The first wave includes the credit costs associated with transport in particular, and they're all over the place. And you're seeing extra pop-ups warning you about them. And man, those thousands of credits, I'm angry.
I mean, I'm kind of oh, yeah. Maybe the next time we have Total Galactic War, when I'm leveling a character, I'll start them out with 0 credits and see how painful it is.
Yes. Because that is the place, and I did this on the PTS. I started a character at 0 and ran around a little bit and was running around on Hutta, and then wanted to quick travel back to the Hut Palace to get back quick, and I did not have enough credits to travel to my stronghold because I had just rolled a new character to go get credits out of the legacy bank. So I had to think about that. There are ways to get
Us.
around that if you have credits on other characters, but then if you have no credits on no characters because you're new to a server or something, then it's going to be a little bit of a grind. But if you've never had any credits on any server, you're not gonna mind, because this is the way every game works. And as we said in that other episode, back in the day, we didn't even have sprint at level 1 for the first 10 levels. We didn't have mounts until like level 15. And we thought this was fine.
Right. Right. I mean, part of the gameplay of an MMO is that you start out with nothing and you slowly move forward.
Right. And you like it.
And then when you make alts, then you can send them credits and vehicles and other stuff.
Yep. And I can confirm that the key interface for stronghold decoration keys is still insane, with no conceivable order for, and still,
Yes, yeah.
so I have 99 pages of guild members in this key interface. So say Seema said, "Hey, I've got my new character, Rodian Mayo. I need you to give them a key so that they could decorate the stronghold." I would have to page through 99 pages, use my eyeballs to look at the 10 or 5, 10, 11, 10, 10 per page. And not only do I have to look at the 10 per page, but do you see this little tooltip down at the bottom where it says next page? The next page tooltip, as I'm clicking over the arrow to go to the next page, hides the 10th name in the list.
Yes, it does.
So I have to click to the next page and then move my mouse away just so that I can then and look with my eyeballs 99 times potentially. And if you forget, it's insane. So Rodian Mayo is probably on this list somewhere. It literally, I've done this for people because I want anyone in our guild to be able to decorate if they want to decorate. We just turn them to gold keys. It takes me forever and it drives me up a wall. This is the worst interface screen in the whole game.
What's that big empty bar in the top section for?
This is if you want to share keys, shared keys that people have shared with you for your personal strongholds only. This is just
So
nuts.
it's not even
It has
having
nothing to
anything
do
to
with
do
the
with
guild,
That's awesome.
interface.
It's like two unrelated
Oops.
things.
I clicked the wrong thing. I'm traveling, getting all riled up. So it is that is the worst. Very few people have to deal with it. Very few. In fact, I think only the GM of the guild can even. Yeah, we've even tried. I think I've asked other officers. Do you have the capability to give out keys? Because maybe I'm gonna delegate that. Nope. Yeah, see, this is if I wanted to share a key with someone that wasn't in the guild. I could share a key with someone. That's the share key box. So it's using it's using a window with these boxes on it that have nothing to do with the guild interface, because you can't even do that. So there's share keys, and the pop-up just says this feature only available for personal strongholds. Okay, well then what do you even have that on this screen for? And then the hiding of the last name, that's just the icing on the cake
Yes.
of this cake full of garbage. Anyway. Sorry, whoever designed that screen. I know it's very few people ever have to deal with it in that way, but I am not fond of that one screen. So there you go. One other thing that is changing the economy, again, as part of these growing number of changes, is repair costs have been rejiggered slightly. Repair costs for high item level gear are higher. durability should be lost on a lower rate for dying, but a slightly higher rate in general for just wear and tear. Uh, the idea of increasing repair costs on high item level gear, I think that's a great idea and a better way to be a little bit more fair for where those credit sinks are happening. Because if I'm running around in full 336, well, I'm very well equipped to be able to get a lot of credits in the game, and having higher repair costs on my gear, it won't affect me. And if someone is we're running around in level 10 gear and not 336, they should have very, very low repair costs. That makes sense. That in that way, when we were talking about the economy changes, I think the travel cost should be scaled by level. And when you're level 1 in the game, that I make my cost at level 80 8 times greater than the people at level 10. I think that would be fair.
Or more.
Or more. Seema's Moneybag Seema, she don't care.
Well, I mean, even 8 times
Yeah.
doesn't mean anything.
No, yeah. It could be 800 times
Right.
and we
Right.
wouldn't notice. Again.
Well, and it's not so much about noticing, if you're thinking about making it sort of equal to the person with no credits trying
Right.
to, yeah,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
equal in effort anyway.
Just a
I
couple. What's that?
I want to point out something that Plausible Denial said, and that is you can add a button to your interface that also takes you to the Galactic Seasons login rewards tab.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that little bar at the top called Utility Bar 1, if you're an interface editor, you can add a button for the login rewards,
Well,
Galactic
there we
rewards page.
go.
I can't find it for the bottom one, Utility Bar 2. Maybe it's there and I'm just not missing it, but you can at least add it to Utility Bar 1 if you wanted to, which,
You can also add a dozen clocks
yes, you can.
to your bars.
Yes, you
Well, that's
can.
fascinating. That is a great tip. Uh, that is a great pro tip then. So if you go to your interface editor, you go to interface editor, you click on this menu bar at the top, and you go, how do I go down to, wait, where's the wait? Oh, is it on this bar? On this bar on the left? No,
We're
where's,
just looking at your face.
oh, as one should. Yeah, so I think these two bars, not the bar at the middle at the top. Yeah, the bar at the middle of the top you can't. The welcome bar at the left, and the bar on the lower right, the utility bar 2. Utility bar 1 and utility bar 2. Those are the ones where you have a lot of choices on what you can add. So if I go down to one of the empty slots, because you can add a ton of stuff into here. Oh, this is a great pro tip as well. So I can go down to slot 7, which is past the little past the who
Mm-hmm.
icon. Scroll down and go login and season rewards. Save, close. And now I've got a button that will take, wow. Pro tip,
Yeah. Yes.
good call. That's great. That is good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I like that.
All thanks to Plausible Denial, because I
Thank you,
had not noticed
plausible
that.
denial. Excellent. This is yeah, that's a tip of the day. Um uh this is the service you guys get for the SWTOR Escape podcast. It's brilliant people making us all smarter. Okay, continuing to run late, so let's get a couple more of. I just called out I highlighted in here, Seema, a couple bug fixes that I thought were interesting because people have called them out before. Torian showing up in the cutscenes on Runic. If you didn't save Torian, that was a bug that did exist. That's fixed. Here's a fun one that I like, and I think a lot of people don't even know exists in the game. But the trick abilities, if you have the Act Dog or the Nexu, there used to be in the Legacy Abilities tab, and you couldn't
Yeah.
put them on a bar. But in your Legacy Abilities tab, there were 2 abilities that were tricks for the Act Dog and the Nexu. I think 2, but the dog could speak and play dead. I'm gonna summon my Nexu, my Act Dog. And the Nexu would do a couple things. Those tricks now show up on an extra action bar, which is super cool because these are great pets to have, and they should have more of those. Yeah, here we go. I got my extra action button, so I can go speak, and he goes, "Roar." He barks, uh, and then I can do. Oh, look at him. He's like, oh. And I got the special skin on him too. And then I can go play dead. And he goes, boom. He lays over and plays dead. Good dog. Good dog. So yeah, if you didn't know that they
I don't
existed
like that. I don't like the animation.
of him playing
That
dead, rolling
right
over and
is
playing
of
dead,
you shooting him.
you do like pull out a gun. You got to make this realistic. Got to take one for the team. So where's my Nexu? What is my
I wanted
Nexu
to,
do?
yeah, because the
The
Nexus seems like he'd be happier about doing these tricks.
the smiliest pet in the game is the Nexu. I do not have an extra action bar for my Nexu.
Yeah, finger guns would be good instead of the gun.
Didn't it say for the Nexu?
Uh,
It says for the Nexu in the notes, and I do not have an extra action bar popping
do-
up for my Nexu.
yes.
Maybe it's a
But the
different
notes I
Nexu
have were
because
written
there
by
are other
you.
Nexus. So you think I was lying to you? Max, why have you turned my notepad into a note of lies? You're lying to me. Okay. Also, they made adjustments to matchmaking to make it more likely that large groups are matched up against each other. And this is Arena and Warzone's a PvP update.
Ah, yeah. So
Our
I mean,
Wednesday
you,
night
you
team encountered that.
they encountered, yes, because yeah. So you still might get matched up against a large a pre-made, but if there's more than one pre-made out there, hopefully they'll get matched to each other.
Yep. And they certainly did get matched up against a couple of pre-mades and did not have a fun time as a result.
And if the pre-made is
Which you'd
out
expect.
there and there's no other pre-made, it's not like they're going to have to wait hours until someone decides to do another pre-made. It's
Right.
like,
It
yeah.
will back off, but if you're in a pre-made, you may have to wait a little bit longer to try to make that work. And if you're solo and there's mostly pre-mades queuing up, you may have to wait a little bit longer to try not to get matched against a pre-made, but it will cycle back relatively quickly.
It was not working on the Nexu, but it's working on Arcan.
Bark,
Oh, I
Arkan.
see. The buttons were showing up, but he wouldn't actually bark or play dead. That's hilarious.
Oh, interesting. Bark like a dog. I will not do that. No. You can also look in the patch notes. There were updates to, mostly this is an Alderon, to the way medals are achieved by attack and defense. The radius around the nodes where you're capturing those nodes have been expanded, so attacker points and defense points around those nodes are acquired more easily. You can get more medals. You need to be getting those medals to get some of the achievements to progress your weeklies in the PvP track. That's just the start also. That will be applied to more war zones, but it's very specific to war zone and map types and game types. So they need to do it step by step for each one. Minor fixes to the world events, to Swoop Rally and Pirate Incursion. I thought that was interesting. So they're like across the board here. They're doing like bunches of bug fixes. They fixed things from last season's Galactic season, and the way the points and who got what rewards that you might not have gotten. Some of that stuff is fixed. They did reduce down another PvP update. They reduced down some of the medals you need to earn the full PvP season points down to 7 from 8, so only down to 1. But that is going to help. And then they also fixed or updated a couple of the achievements for Arena Advocator and Warzone Warrior to only have to do it 12 times instead of 25. So they're really smoothing some things out there. PvP challenges now working correctly. That's another feature that people may not realize is in the game. But if you form a group and another team forms a group and you want a custom private PvP match, the leader of each group can open up the PvP window and challenge the other group. And you get to pick the match type. You get to pick and then only go in there with your two groups into a private match and have fun. That's a fun thing. Tons and tons. Okay, and then two that I left in at the bottom. Again, they're also slipstreaming in other hot fixes, and this will continue. They put two of those in the patch notes so far, which was one of them was converting ship requisition to fleet requisition. That's been removed from the cartel market because that doesn't function anymore and that doesn't work that way anymore. And then the players who participate in the last phase of the public test server should have already received their Opal Volptilla mounts, and I have seen a bunch of those running around the server. One thing we didn't mention when we talked about the new test server for AWS and the Asia Pacific region that's coming, if you did not yet get an Opal Volptilla mount, that will be a reward again for getting on and doing a couple things on that new server, so you'll have another chance. So there you go. All right, Seema, we did it.
We got
7.2.1.
through them all. Yeah.
Big update. Went long on the podcast so that we could get through it all. Talked about a bunch. Got to show off our Mextra stronghold. I'll decorate it and show it again in the future. We'll dig into these in more detail in coming weeks, but I think this was a good rundown, and I'm happy to see it and happy to have them have this baseline work done so that they can do more in the future. I think that's what we're going to get. Anything else before we wrap it up then, Seema?
No, just everyone have a great night
Yes.
or day or whenever you're listening to this. Drive carefully. Take care of yourself.
And with that, our EPC 461 droid is going to need to drive carefully as we boot it out an airlock to broadcast this episode to all of you out there. All the feed and subscribe links are on newoverlords.com and YouTube/newoverlords. And you can also come chat with us if we've been talking all night here with our chat room live on Thursday nights on twitch.tv/newoverlords, and certainly any day. And Seema and I are in there probably 24 hours a day, practically,
Right.
in our Discord, which is at newoverlords.com/Discord. Come say hi. You can follow me on Twitter at Max the Gray, or our overall channel feed, which is at The New Overlords. And you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook and maybe TikTok someday soon.
If you look at TikTok.
We will keep you up to date there. That's the Twitter is usually where I put the note that we're going live and those kinds of things. But there's plenty of other places, and like the Discord's the main place all the news goes out. For AIE Guild information on Starforge and in all the games that we play, check out aie-guild.org, and the Discord link for that is in the upper right, or it's actually right in the middle now of the updated guild page. Jump in there. We'd love to get you an invite to Starforge, our server on the Republic or the Imperial side. We do stuff across both factions. Get you in there. Come to our Guild Fun Night. Have a bunch of fun with us. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.